Okay, good. That's fine. Okay, right. Onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
Very good. We'll just do a little bit of a loosening up more than a warm up. Just find a bit of a bounce. Send the feet circle. A little bit of an impulse with the heel. Let the weight settle. And just letting the body sway front and back. And to the other side. And into a little bit of rotation. And then just working on an open closing movement. Okay. Good. We'll just take it straight to the arms, just releasing the arms through, just focus on releasing the shoulders, the fingers loose, the wrists, the elbows. Okay, good. And just open up to the sides a little bit. A little bit of a shoulder tap. You come across to the front. And just add a little bit of spiral to it. Find the shoulders, front and back. Great, and just working in one arm circle, just one to the back. Slightly, then just going to find at the center. Switching. Good. Switching the arm. And change it to the front. Great, and then just swinging them alternating. One going forward, one going back. Just the front and the back of the body. Catch the film of the hip, basically swinging, drawing the hands back to the body. And then from there, just starting to really open up the body to the side. Let the hands raise up a little bit higher. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. Get the feeling of the elbows being heavy. And then just think about finding the center line, right above that center of the head. Top of the head. And drain down. And then just taking them in full circles, circling one way a few times. And just switch the direction through, find the center line, change the direction. Great. And then just to release them out, just play with a figure of eight pattern. So really the focus on the hip, loosen out, just let the arms kind of drag through the air, front and back. And a kind of heaviness through it. So you're kind of dragging them through water. Quicksand. Nice. Nice. Great. And then just grab a jar, we'll go straight into a little bit of figure of eight work. So just working one side, just go follow straight away with that figure of eight. Just like the other, I'm just first just going to kind of work in this area, kind of in the shoulder, the bicep, the elbow. Just in this area, just feel that it's kind of soft. So you want to feel, especially the front of the shoulder doesn't kind of stick up and out as you go into the movement. So just try and keep it nice and calm. I'm using this hand, two things really is kind of listen to the joint, and the other is just to add a little bit of a pressure down into it. So if you feel especially like the shoulder starting to kind of kick out, just kind of place the hand there, use a little bit of heaviness in the hand. Or if you feel that the other one is the kind of elbow starts to kind of kick up and out. So just listen with the hand in terms of feeling, not in terms of using your ears, using your hand to feel. And as soon as you get the feeling for the arm kind of calming into the body, really go to the feeling of the hip. You can really add in a little bit of an extra kind of width to the motion. And keep the ankles loose. Good. And then just a few nice and slow, so you're just going to kind of roll through. Again, as if you're kind of dragging the jaw through a little bit of a heavier substance. And again, just use the slightly slow movement again, just using that hand to add a little bit of weight. And just kind of listening to the joints again, just feel that it's calm all the time. And just gradually really kind of slow it slow it. And you basically want to find a speed which is basically as slow as you can keep everything moving together. So I don't want to go so slow that everything starts to feel like it starts to stick. But I want to find a speed that's not too fast. Slow it down. Slow it down. Good. Perfect. Great. And then just switch the hand. It just starts a little bit slow. Oh, something's happened. Starts a little bit slow. What's happened? Okay. Go into a normal pace, and then choosing the opposite hand, and just bring it into the body, add a little bit of weight. You just notice especially the front of the shoulder, the bicep, the elbow. Everything feel free. And if you feel again a specific area, like the shoulder starts to feel like it's kind of rolling or sticking out, just add a little bit of pressure there, a little bit of weight. Great. And then again, same thing, once you feel the arms kind of softening, just start to feel that you can add a little bit more of a kick with the hip. So you start to drive it with the core, with the lower body. And again, just listen especially as you add a little bit extra. Try and keep the arm fluid, flexible, supple. Nice, great. And then again, just do a few, starting to kind of slow it down. And then again, feel that the kind of end of the weapon's kind of rolling through a little bit of a heavier substance. And really trying to go to the feeling of the core engaging all the way through the movement. And again, trying to find a speed which is slow enough to be useful in terms of study, but again, not slow enough that I'm going to kind of stall the movement. And the key thing is just feel that kind of figure-8 pattern really rolling constantly through the hip. Good. And then just start to freely switch the hand. And just build this up a little bit. Again, feel the arms are calm, feel they're in the body. So you've got that feeling, just allow the hips again, just to kick the movement a little bit more, driving the jaw away and back. Good. Great. Good. That's it. And then just put a little bit with feet, so just a couple of steps forward, a couple of steps back. And just the key with this is not to feel you lose the figure-8 and kind of just move the feet and the arms go as well. Think about that figure-8 pattern still rolling through the hips. So again, do it slow enough where you can really feel that roll from the hips. Figure-8 pattern really originating in the hip, taking it into the arm. Just a few steps forward, a few steps back. Good. Good. And then we'll just do a pattern, all of this space is to the front, so it tends to kind of close the body up the front of it. So just play with the first, we'll take this into movement, but just the first few, just really think about opening up the back. So taking the jaw right to the spine, switching the hand at the spine, and then just releasing. Think also giving the head a little bit of freedom and the body, just to kind of continue, not specifically looking at the jaw, but definitely allowing the body to kind of open a little bit more. So this one just to open up the shoulders a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Good. Yeah, the other thing you can do with this, also good for kind of wrist flexibility, is as you come to this position, allow the jaw just to kind of tip towards the forearm. So you don't have to keep a grip with it, but just allow the jaw to start to move towards the forearm here. Yes, it's going to kind of go to the outside of the arm that way. But yeah, nice just for a little bit of wrist mobility as well, just to open that up while you're in a little bit of extension through the back. But yeah, just listen to the shoulder joint, listen to the hips, the knees. Great, very nice. Good, and then just before we go really into it, just think about basically turning the body into it as well. So you're basically going to allow the body to align to this direction and then switch, really align to this direction. It's just a little bit of a footwork, feel like a kind of kaiten step, this way, this way. And the key thing now is with the rotation to really add to the motion. So we're trying to really fit the transition to the body work. So again, you want the hips, the lower body to drive the movement. That's it. Good, nice. That's it. Very nice, good. And then take this more into more of an 𝘭𝘵𝘢𝘵𝘦𝘢. So you're going to step in with this on, find the back, and then step back with it. Step in, find the back, step back. Step in, find the back, step back. And again, first you just do it slowly if you can feel the body work. Really again driving the movement, and the transitions just fitting in with the movement now. Very nice. Okay. Take this more to a little bit of freestyle, but there's a set that's a nice one to work with, which is going into this rotation, following through, and then let the body continue the rotation, and then go into this one. And then you can also switch to the other side. So it's as you switch this way, continue the body movement. The 𝘗 stays in motion and basically catch it with that second one. So you're mixing in now the back rotation, turning with the 𝘗, and then just mix in a few kind of steps with that, and then you rotate to the back. Follow the path of the 𝘗, and then just catch it in that motion. Catch it that, and then take it into the back, follow it. Just be careful not to kind of keep going one way with it. Keep going, keep switching sides with it. But the key thing with this one now is that the 𝘗 basically continues in motion all the time. And I want to go kind of slow enough that I can feel the body drive the movement. Not slow enough, I'm going to kind of feel that I stall the movement. And if I can take it a little bit faster, just kind of go there, go to your own pace. So you feel basically the 𝘗's turning all the way through the body. That's very nice. Good, and then we'll just have one more, which is basically working the upper direction. So if you've not got the space with this, work basically with the 𝘗 down, but the key part of this is just allowing the 𝘗 to kind of swing up to the top of the head, and then letting it come back down to the body. So if I've not got quite enough space, I kind of work with it this way, and just let the 𝘗 kind of arc down in more of a V shape. But the key part is that kind of switch up above. If you've got the space and you can, play with a little bit more, kind of coming horizontal with it, and then you can kind of roll the 𝘗 up. Roll the 𝘗 out to the side. So that just in a space kind of work with this movement here. But again, feel free also just to explore the direction of it and just start to kind of work the body work into it as well. So you can do this with a step. You can do this with a little bit of a rotation. You can do it with a kind of 𝘭𝘪𝘠𝘠𝘠 movement. And again, the idea is just to really open up that space, top of the head, and especially listen to the shoulders in this one. Big feeling, as always, this feeling of draining the weight down all the time to the ground. Okay. Okay, so there's one detail. There's different handwork movements you can do with this. None of them are wrong. But just try this one. It's just a nice one. Play with this one. It's like when I switch, I put the back of the hands together, and I allow the jaw to just freely rotate into the palm this way. This is a nice one because I slightly lose the grip of the jaw, and I've got to basically allow the jaw to basically pass freely over. So the transition, if you want to just work on that one, is basically just that I allow the hand to come to the back. And I allow the jaw to just kind of roll over the back of the hand. So that the roll of the jaw is like that way to the thumb. And I allow it just to fall into the other grip. So it's just going to kind of fall that way. You can obviously kind of take and switch it. But the point in the transition in the head, in the above position, where that's really out of view of the eyes. So it's a nice one because it's just a little bit of freedom with the jaw. And it's just going to kind of draw my attention really to the feel of the jaw in the hand. And it give the jaw a little bit of freedom. And it's also going to really, if I really catch the center line, then the jaw is really kind of secure in the movement. Yeah, so in this one, again, you can play with different grips. None of them are wrong at all in this case, but it's just a slightly different one. It's going to just involve a little bit of a different hand skill. Very good. Great. Very nice. And then, yeah, just play with mixing these three in. So you've got the forward kind of figure of eight, you've got the backwards movement, and then you've got this one, which is rolling up to the top this way. So I just add that one in every so often just to kind of open up again the space at the top. And again, kind of mix them in a little bit. The key thing is just feel that the jaw is constantly revolving, constantly in motion, and the body is basically just kind of working with the jaw. And just explore a little bit different combinations from one to the other. And the thing for, especially for Aikido works, like we're really working with the motion of the jaw. So I really want to give it a little bit of freedom. And that's where the hand transition is kind of interesting. Have a little bit less control with the hands and really try and feel that the body works right. Now, don't hit yourself in the leg if you can avoid it. Transitions, but play now we're basically working off center. So again, be really careful, especially if you've got a little bit of a small space, then definitely be careful of objects in the space. But just work with these same kind of motions. You've got like this front one, but just work a little bit off center. Be careful of the ground also as you come to the back, but also just play with that kind of transition. So you're just taking it off center. The tricky one really is that one where you go above the head and just play with just a little bit off center. The weight totally different. So you got a little bit more reach out with the weapon. So just play a little bit with like just creeping off the center. Sometimes finding the center. If you've got enough space, you can really work right at the end of the weapon, but just be careful with it, obviously. So. And then it's really important with this as the jaw's off center in terms of the grip, that the body's really centered. That's going to be the kind of test of this. I really need the body to be centered. If the jaw goes, if the body's out of center in this one, then I'm going to really suffer with the body work. So I can take them, especially this one, a little bit slower. Just explore those 3 positions. Good. Nice. Right. Good. And then the next one, play with, keep the kind of body work going, keep the body moving. Just play with this, which is both hands on the 𝘵. I'm just going to play with it really like a kind of sensitivity in terms of the fingers. And I'm going to play with basically the lightest grip I can. So it's not really ever working in this exercise specifically with a full grip. Think about basically really being in the fingers and really just kind of rolling in through the grip and just play with it. Play with kind of rotating the 𝘵 over, play with turning it to the top of the head. But just play with basically how light I can make the grip. And I'm basically working in the fingers mostly. And just really as an exercise. So you've got different kind of qualities of movement through these. But again, the key is to kind of link the motion of the 𝘵 and the body. So the 𝘵 feels really secure wherever it kind of moves. And the body's kind of working behind it or underneath it. Right there with it. But yeah, it's just kind of exploring how light I can make the contact with the 𝘵. Explore kind of transitions like you would make in 𝘭𝘪𝘭𝘵, changing above the head. You can also go to kind of 𝘭𝘪𝘨 variations. Yeah, good, great, very nice, great. Good. And then the next one is just really exploring having one grip, one secure grip, and the other kind of flowing. So again, it's just the amount that I can really allow the other hand to flow in this one. So working with a secure grip, not again a kind of a rigid grip, but just kind of secure with the grip, basically closing the palm contact. And then just play with again these kind of transitions, changing, but just think about basically one hand always controlling and the other just allowing it to feed up and down the weapon. And you can work on these kind of switches that you would do with the 𝘭𝑪𝑜 work, blocking work. Think about the ski kind of transitions that we make a lot. The 𝘭𝑪𝑜 changes, the 𝘭𝘪𝘭𝘫 changes. But again, it's just exploring. I can make that grip very secure. How light can I make the other hand? Good. And then very last one, just before we go to any kind of striking or any kind of techniques, just think about kind of switching between 𝚳𝚣. So if you think about two things you can do, switching side to side, obviously, in different ways. Just working with a ski 𝚳𝚣, but also explore the other 𝚳𝚣. So if you think about working with ken 𝚳𝚣, switching to 𝘵 𝚳𝚣, or switching to ski 𝚳𝚣, switching to background, rolling in. You can also work with the 𝘭𝑪𝑜 work. You can work with the 𝘭𝘪𝘏 work, but just play with basically coming into 𝚳𝚣. So the two basic one are basically the Kenkamai, Skikamai, Jokamai, and then also working with a little bit with Hassa if you've got the space. And just play with the transitions and basically how to get into the transition. And then how to basically hold the Kamai in a way that's comfortable, extended, connected. Good. And we'll just start just a little bit of ski work. So go straight into a Zengo ski, but just working really now with the focus in the ski. Self the transition. So the key focus now on that smooth transition, but really allowing yourself to find the ground now with the ski. Yeah, and then we're just taking this kind of classic one, just working front and back. But again, now the key transition in a sense is from this grounding position, mobilizing, and then to this other grounding position, and then the switch, obviously. So you've got 3 points where you're really looking for the ground. Here, here, down, and then here, back into the command. They've all got different kind of qualities. Going to the front, grounding to the back, and then grounding back neutral. But again, just keeping the sense all the time, the ground underneath. And just really paying attention during the transition, making them as smooth as possible. Oh. Okay. That's so good. So we'll take this to like a kindergarten form. Just focus on one thing, just the kind of feeling of this, which is this one is in a sense the shirosuke is quite easy to basically start in the arms to kind of release the arms, and then the body kind of comes back with it. Just think about this one. Every so often with this, just do a kind of trick for the body, which is I don't do the arms, I just pull the body back, something like this. So just play this, but it's to really get this feeling that the body goes forward, the body just presses back. But every so often, just kind of trick the body into doing it. So the main thing is just to get out of the arms, starting the pattern, and really somehow get into the feeling that the body can just go. Body can just go and then switch. So all the parts of these three movements are like that in terms of the kind of attacking from the center, but especially that back one tends to be that the arms go first. So just every so often, just like so to just kind of trick the body a little bit. I'm really not going to start the arms. I'm just going to move the body. Yeah. That's it. Perfect. That's it. It's just taking the attention. It's also the compressions in the feet, all those kind of details. Nice. Now we'll kind of split it into two in a sense. Think about the thrust and really grounding. So use that as a very clear point, and then think about this and this coming together now. So you're going to basically thrust in ground, and then think about something a little bit more elastic. It's a little bit like a kind of yoga, like when we do the kind of uraken stuff, where you kind of whip out and draw back into the core. So it's a little bit of that kind of feeling of this, but use the first thrust as really a grounding position, and then release, pull to the back, release, draw the jaw back. So it's got this really kind of feeling again of the hips, the center, really drawing the jaw back into the core, back into the kamae. Nice, nice. Good. Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, so what you're trying to allow to happen in a sense, what tends to happen with especially if I'm too much in the arm, something like this happen, where the reverberation basically goes to the arms. So think about that pulse, basically going to the feet. So what you're trying to do with that pulse, that impulse out is really like fill the back, fill that what is the back foot, and then when it's filled, really use it to kind of pull the body back this way. So think about, again, the first one also with the pause is to really feel where the thrust, where that percussion is really grounded. If I feel on that first one that the arms do it, I basically pull back and start it again. So I really want to feel from that first position that the impulse goes to the ground, goes to the feet. And then if I can keep that feeling here, and basically follow it through into a little bit more of a flowing position, but you're basically trying to use that shirosuke, the impulse on it to really drop into the feet, and then if I can drop into the feet, I can just basically pull the jaw back with a kind of minimum effort, really. Good. Good. And if you feel comfortable with that, just take this basically into one. So you're going to use the kamae now, the pause, and really use it again as a pause. So in this case, think about the front thrust, back thrust, back to kamae, all this kind of one motion. And again, I really want to feel that I'm in the feet. As soon as I kind of lose that, or if I feel on the very first one I'm kind of out, then I'll just kind of pull back with it. So it's basically as much as I can keep the feeling that the impulse is down, I kind of keep going with it. But if I feel it's out, just kind of use, again, this is a progression that we just kind of went through. But the worst thing I can do in a sense is to just kind of do that. I really want to keep making everyone a little bit deeper in terms of the connection to the ground. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit hard to do slower. So it's basically, I need to basically pull back down the progression a little bit if I'm struggling to find the feeling a little bit. No, that's boom, boom, good, great. Nice, very good. Yeah, the other way to work this is because you keep switching sides with it. The tendency is that if I'm, let's say one side's quite bad, or let's say one side's worse than the other in terms of my connection work, it's going to kind of pull the other side down as well. So the other way to play with this is just basically work one side, which means doing the sets a little bit like this, and then switching back to that same side. This, switching back to that same side. Also, if I got to kind of, if I feel like I got a weaker side, and I'll just kind of work that side a little bit. Or if I just feel like I want to work connection, strongly work connection, and I'll work on the strong side. But just play with that one also. So the problem a lot of the times is we are switching sides each time, and it can tend to kind of confuse the body a little bit. So every so often it's nice just to work one side, just really work on the connection a little bit there. Great. Nice. Great. Okay, we'll work on a little bit, working with the kind of blocking movements and specifically these spiral patterns which come up. So in a way, there's kind of softer parts of it, even though it's like working with blocks which tend to be, in a sense, quite harder. These blocks that we use, they've got this kind of winding quality, and definitely work on this feeling of kind of absorbing. So different quality working with ski work. We'll work it in, but just play the first few just with this, which is just this wind, which kind of just rolls through the arms. So just keep the feet where they are for now. And the key thing is to work on this kind of softness, not in the sense that the core of the body is soft, but that you're just able to kind of yield and absorb with the arms. So in this case, specifically looking to kind of wind the arms. And work both ways with it. So if you think about working clockwise, anti-clockwise, and then just freely change the side as well. So just try and kind of catch it. That's it. Yeah, one thing to play with here is also the positioning of the backhand on the jaw. So if I'm a little bit too far forward with this, then this hand with these movements gets basically blocked. And what ends up happening is that the front arm starts to do a lot of the work. If I'm too far back, let's say I'm disconnected this way, again, I'm kind of locked with the joint. It's going to be kind of butting up against the back hip. So there's a kind of sweet point in this movement where I can kind of roll. For me, it's just around about the back hip. But if I kind of creep too far forward, it ends up kind of clashing, or it ends up clashing if I'm too far back. And so what I want to do is just find a position where this is free to kind of roll with, and the back hip's able to kind of roll through the position as well. And that works for both sides as well. But it's just finding the right kind of position where the core of the body is able to kind of act freely, and the arms are able to act freely as well. It's just exploring a little bit where that position is kind of comfortable for you. It's going to be slightly different for everybody, but yeah, good. That's nice. And just freely explore with this, but play with the move we're often making. Also really matches this feeling of kind of yielding, absorbing, receiving, is to basically roll back with the body. So just play with this again. Play with these kind of 4 patterns. One is to roll like anti-clockwise. One is to roll clockwise. And then of course you've got the other side as well. So you've got kind of 4 basic patterns with this. And just think of this feeling, it's like you just draw the body back. And again, in that transition, I'm just going to sweep or spiral the jump one way, spiral the jump the other way. So again, feel free to kind of switch the sides, stick with one side, stick with one pattern, mix them in a little bit. And the key thing is this feeling of really absorbing back. And that feeling is really kind of soft. Soft in terms of connection weight, but heavy in terms of weight, in terms of the feet, the grounding. Yeah, nice. Okay. And then just to emphasize that feeling also, what you'll notice in the form is where you give this opening. And that's obviously for giving the partner an opening, giving them a safe kind of point on the body. But also if you think about in terms of feeling, I'm really going from like a guarded position to really opening the body out. Okay. So it's not in the sense that you kind of open up and basically really split the body up in terms of connection. But just think about there's a kind of softening which goes to the body in the sense of really opening out. And then it's an invitation to basically attack, and then you roll back with it. So depending on which movement you do, you're going to find it, generally, if I'm opening to the outside, I'm going to then rotate back in to the body. And if I'm opening to the inside of the body, I'm going to roll the jaw back across the outside that way. So just play with it, but the key thing is get this film, the body just opens. So the films that I basically yield the center line, open it out, and then I use that to come back with the body. So it's got this kind of softening quality in terms of the kind of invitation, in terms of a yielding, not in terms of like structurally weak. Yeah, we go. Nice. That's great. Good. And then we'll look at the patterns where you're basically just coming back in. So you're yielding, blending back, and then pressing back in. Just do this, the first few, just to kind of trick the body a little bit, because the tendency is I go into these are kind of, everything becomes kind of arm-based. So just play with this, do that full motion the same way, this back, feel yourself really pressing, grounding the feet, and then just move the whole body forward. So feeling goes again to like really attacking with the center. So you're going to kind of yield, roll back, and then really feel the whole body just goes in. And I really want to kind of bring the ground with you in that first movement, in the second movement, sorry. So you're blending, yielding back, feel the pressure in the feet, and then just press the body in. But it's that feeling that the whole body goes from a kind of impulse from the core. Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah, good. Good. Awesome. Yeah, good. Yeah, and then every sort of use that trick, but go now into working with the ski. So again, work with the pattern, yielding back, thrusting back in. And really again, using the ski now to ground the body fully. Rolling back, yielding, thrusting through, nice and strong. And again, work all the different combinations of this. Both sides. And there's a kind of soft quality, and then there's that more extended heavy quality of the body. Nice. Good. Good. The last bit, we'll just finish a little bit of end-to-hand work. So it's not exactly the same pattern, but it's the same kind of feeling. So just play with this where the backhand as you start is basically on the center of the body. Then you're going to play with a step in this case. So rather than a kind of shuffle back and a kind of press in, play with a bigger movement. So it's just working the body up, work a little bit. You're going to kind of roll back with this. Again, that feeling of kind of yielding back. And then think about, again, strong extension out as you come into it. Again, that hand just plays the center. It's just to give the feeling, just to feel again where the impulse is going to come from. And I definitely don't want to do this in the sense of pulling the hands away from the body or pulling them back into the body. Just feel that the core can kind of initiate the motion. The hand follows, yield back, and then extend out. So again, just do a few on each side. So that same kind of feeling informed from the jaw work, but just a little bit different body work. You're going to roll, step back. You're going to roll, step in. Really feel the core's driving. In that sense that you're yielding from the core, you're also extending from the core. That's nice. Very good. Good. And then with that feeling, just work with both hands, but again, keep the feeling that the core's basically going to yield first, and then the core's going to mobilize first into it. So again, work both sides with it, but keep that basic pattern. The first one is also the arm's going to be kind of relaxed. Again, it's got that kind of softness. What I don't want to do is start in a kind of loaded position. So think about kind of releasing the arms down, and then think about rolling, yielding back, opening out, and then full extension out into it. You can play with different kind of hand positions with this. Just as a kind of basic one that's kind of working like a student in a motion. Yielding, rolling back, and then again, the kind of key feeling is that the hip and the center is basically going to roll that connection through. That's nice. Very nice. Good. Very nice. And then last minute, so just play with kind of freely using this combination. So rather than now, where you can keep it as this like a step back and a surge forward, but you can also start to add kind of rotation work into it. So just going to keep it again a little bit more complex, but keeping that as a kind of foundation. The roll back, the roll in, roll yielding back, roll in. You can also yield on a rotation in the sense of you're rolling this way, and you can also extend out into rotation as well. So just kind of mixing basically different kind of footwork patterns. And just notice how difficult it is to basically keep that together, especially during rotation work. And that core thing is just drawing back to the sense that the center of the body is basically going to motivate and create the sensation into the hands. The other one that's also tricky is like extending as you roll back the body. That's not one we do often. Well, it is one we do often in terms of body work. In weapon work, not so much. But that's good. Excellent. Okay, good. We'll stop there. Very good. Well, that's great. Great. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Okay, okay. Thank you very much.